Hello, my name is Navdeep Kaur and I am going to present the franchise film case study for the movie Twilight. Okay, Twilight is a series of four vampire-themed fantasy romance novels. The author is Stephanie Meyer. She wrote all the novels for the Twilight series. The first book of the Twilight series was published on October 5th, 2005, and the publisher was the the company Little Brown, and it was printed out in the hardcovers and paperback, and later on it has other versions of ebooks and the audiobooks. So this Little Brown and Company originally bid for 300,000 million, but Mayer's agent asked for 1 million, and the publisher finally settled on the 750,000 for the all the three books. Twilight was published in 2005, and for the first printout, they just asked for the 75,000 copies. And for the surprise to the author, it was considered at the New York Times the best seller list within a month of its release. The second series was New Moon. It was the same publisher, the Little Brown, and it was published after 1 year in 2006, and it has the same media type. And they started with the initial printout with 100,000 copies, and for the demand of the book was so high that on eBay this book was sold for $380. There was so much demand of this one, so they just sold it for 380. And after the 2 years of the release of this book, 1.5 million copies were sold throughout the USA. And the third book is The Eclipse, and it was published after a year in 2007. And this book, they started for the copies, and the first year release they sold 150,000 copies, and it was also considered into the 150 bestsellers of the list, and it go through the 100 weeks of the list. And the last one from the book is Breaking Dawn, and the publisher was same, Little Brown and Company. It was published in 2008, a year after the previous one, and it was also printed out in hardcover and later on ebook and the audio CDs. This one, the Breaking Dawn, is the most weighted book of the 2008. They printed, the Little Brown printed 500,000 additional copies, and the initial print was 3.7 million. The first one they had only 75,000 copies, and the last one they had the demand of 3.7 million copies for the book. And the book was sold 1.3 million copies in USA, 20,000 in UK in the first 24 hours of release. And now we are going to talk about the movies, the Twilight Saga. That the first was created the last book was written in October 2008, and the first was created in November 2008. And all the movies were distributed by the Summit Entertainment. And all these four novels was adapted to the movies, and the last one is divided into parts. And okay, the first one is Twilight, and it has a initial budget of 37 million, and they have the revenue of the box office of $39 million, and it has on the first day $35.7 million for the grocery. The film grossed 192 million in US and Canada, and 199 in the international territories. The second movie released 1 year later in 2009, and the initial budget was 50 million dollars, and they recollected 709 million dollars. And this new moon set the records midnight opening in domestic in USA and Canada. The box office history gross rate estimated 26.3 million in 3,514 theaters in only US and Canada. And on the third week, it's grossed 15.7 million in US and Canada and 40.7 million internationally. In total of $570.1 million. The third one is Eclipse, and it's released on June 2010. And again, this hit big opening, the biggest opening on the first day, and it was released over 4,000 theaters in US and Canada, and it collected 30.1 million. And the last book, Twilight Saga Breaking Down, this one is divided into two movies, and it has the largest gross over all the other movies, and it reached the 500 million worldwide in 12 days. It's the record time for the franchise. And this, for the current time, this is the highest in the list of the highest grossing film all the time. This is on number 50th. And the last one, it was released on last year, 2012, and the budget was 120 million, and it earns on box office 829 million. And in only North America, they earn 292 millions, and other territories and from all over the world, they earn 540 million dollars. In the total gross of 832 million dollars from a movie which just cost 120 million dollars. And this is also known by the 8th largest ever, the largest of the Twilight franchise, and the largest for a film released outside the summer period. Okay, here we can see the comparison chart between all the movies, the box office revenue between the United States and the foreign and all the worldwide, and we can see the gross is increasing, and it comes to only from United States. It collected $1 billion, and the foreign $1 billion as well, more or less 2 billion, and a total of $3.3 billion in the worldwide. It started from 2008 to 2012. And these are the sales for the DVD, and it has the total revenue of 657 millions, and the Twilight, the movie, is still on #1 rank, and the Twilight Breaking Down Part 2 is also on rank #1. It's still selling a lot of DVDs. And these are some of the products I found on the Amazon. Basically, they have the movies and the toys and games and books, the music as well, and the Kindle store. And also they have electronics and cell phone and jewelries and sports and outdoors and beauty. As well, they have some for the small children shoes and watches for mainly for the teenagers.